like you said, I don't want to relitigate this whole thing again, but I think not every situation's the same. And there also is a difference, you know, when it comes to Bradshaw, it's not just people who aren't in the ring. It's not just ring announcers or television announcers or whoever. It's also usually young wrestlers trying to make it in the WWE. And you know as well as anyone, it's a scary locker room because you're afraid you're going to offend someone with anything you do. You don't really take risks. You kind of just hope you don't get fired.
I agree with that.
So, you know, not every situation is exactly the same. I also think there's a difference between locker room jousting and someone who has the okay from the top of the food chain to behave in a certain way and takes it pretty far. And like I said before, you know, you're talking about your stories and they're all, you know, and I appreciate them all, but it's another thing when it's the same guy over and over and over again. It's one guy. You don't hear this about other people. Yeah, I mean, every now and then you'll hear like, you know, Benoit got into this when he was in the WWE.
Did they fire Joey Styles when he punched Bradshaw in the face?
No.
Have we determined that Bradshaw continued to fuck with Joey Styles?
I can't say he did. I can't say he didn't. I actually have no idea. I haven't heard that he did, but that doesn't mean I just don't know. I don't know enough.
My advice is, and I know everybody wants to keep their job and blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, it comes down to your man's got to look at yourself in the mirror regardless who you work for every fucking day. So if something's making you that fucking miserable, either to ignore it or do something about it.
Okay, I'll give some advice too. Bradshaw, you're a horrible commentator. You lend nothing to the wrestling business. You're only there because you're Vince's boy and you do things on their behalf. Go home, shut up, stay off camera, maybe work on your hunchback, and maybe spend some time trying to figure out why your wife's hedge fund failed.
You know, now we're getting to the fucking, because you lost a lot of money. Yeah, on certain advice when his
moron wife went out there and tanked the municipal bond market. She said they're all going to default, and it killed the municipal bond market, and none of that happened. Like, you know, very little of that happened, and she just affected a lot of people's investments.
I'm detectifying underlying fucking heat.
Oh, there. No. I definitely think she's a dirty cunt.
Oh, now wait, good.
But my feelings about him are separate. I can separate the two. I think he's, just.
But in this case, I wasn't even talking about Brad. I'm talking about anybody if you're going to be in the wrestling business and you're going to be in the locker rooms with people, then you have to deal with people either fucking with you. I mean, Jonathan Boyd, was I going to fucking fight Jonathan Boyd the night that he put fucking icy hot in my underwear and I didn't realize it until I was 10 miles away from the building and all of a sudden my balls were in flames in Covington, Tennessee with no place on the side of the road to wash them off?
But again, every situation's different. And, you know, I just talked to Len Denton on the Super Podcast about how when he first started, Carl Cox would by barely doing anything, every single job guy backstage at Mid-South was terrified of him.
Oh, yeah.
Terrified. They really believed he was nuts, and he did a great job of convincing a lot of people of that.
I believe he was. As a matter of fact, Dick Murdoch told me one time Cox, after he got out of wrestling, worked at a fucking mental institution as a guard, or maybe it was a psychiatric part of a jail or whatever. He was a guard of some kind, and he convinced this one guy that the fucking government was monitoring with shit in his teeth, and the guy pulled all his own teeth out. Now that's a fucking stiff fucking rib there.
Yeah, that's rough. But again, I think every situation's different. I'm going to bring up again the point I brought up last week. JBL's not old school. He's not old school. He came up in the 90s in Dallas when Dallas was dead. He's not Mr. Old School. He may want to pretend like he is, but he's not.
Okay, but I think we've assassinated the character or lack thereof of JBL enough, but I'm just talking about to the guys in the business. Fuck, guys. If you want people to respect you, at some point you have to stand up for yourself. And I think in some cases, knowing what I do about some of the people that are involved or supposedly involved or allegedly involved or whatever, if you stand up for yourself, that's probably the fucking reaction that they want to begin with. And I don't think you're going to get fired for it. Now, if you fucking drive your goddamn car into the locker room and fucking mow 17 people down, you're probably going to get fired. But
if every person he fucked with turned around and punched him in the face, and let's say some took it a little further. I mean, I brought up the Dynamite Kid incident last week, and that's a perfect example because he was legitimately fucking with Jacques Rougeau every single show. There wasn't a show Jacques Rougeau would go to where Dynamite Kid wouldn't come and antagonize him, and eventually Jacques Rougeau hit him with a fistful of quarters, and it really sent Dynamite Kid on a downward spiral. I mean, he was never the same after that in more ways than one. So, I mean, but that's my point too. If JBL's doing this, and I understand you don't want to make it about JBL. I'm using him as an example for this case. If Wrestler X is doing this over and over and over again, mostly to guys who actually aren't in the ring, mostly to smaller guys that are smaller than him. If every one of those people took up this idea of, I'll hit him with a tire iron, I'll shoot him. I mean, you never know how far they'll go. At what point do you say though, I mean, what does it take for you to go, okay, enough of this already? If someone broke his leg, is that where it's like, okay, enough of this? If someone shot him, is it enough of this?
That's where that if something is ongoing to that extent, and the put upon party has spoken to the putter upon her, and it hadn't settled anything, then that's where you go to talent relations or whatever and say something like when I had to tell Brock I was going to shoot him. Because Brock said, fuck you to my girlfriend in front of me. I said, hold on, don't say fuck you to her in front of me because I'll have to shoot you. And then I fucking got them together, made them apologize to each other for the fucking cussing that they were doing at each other, disrupting the TV show. And then Brock goes to Danny Davis and says, will Jim really shoot me? He said, well, look at you, you big fucker. You think he's going to fight you? That's the point when there's that size disparity. When it was a Nikita Koloff versus Jim Cornette, there wasn't going to be no big fight because everybody knows how that would come out. It would just make Nikita look bad. But when there's the size disparity, the bigger guy actually needs to tread a little lighter unless you're talking about going out and settling it in a friendly shoot in the wrestling ring. Because if a big, huge motherfucker fucks with a little motherfucker, the little motherfucker is not going to go up and just say, okay, let's go outside. He's going to go, I'm going to get from behind this motherfucker with a baseball bat and cave his head in. It's going postal because that's the only chance he would have. So the big fuckers need to watch out who they push around as far as the little fuckers.
I guess that's my point. I'd like to see JBL act like this to Braun Strowman or someone who's as big, if not bigger than him. I'd like to see that. Or someone who has a background in mixed martial arts or someone who is a collegiate wrestler. I'd like to see someone who isn't a tiny announcer get treated like this by JBL. And then, maybe I'd be able to look at it a different way, but it's just. But
do you think with the world in conflict and North Korea potentially nuclear that this should be dominating the fucking headlines?
I am exhausted by it already. It's been
so that's it. So we're going to ring the bell on it here on the Jim Cornette Experience. There you go. No more of but just young wrestlers, stand up for yourself, talk it out first if you can. And once again, as Dennis Condrey used to say, if you can't get along, get it on. Stand up for yourself. Don't fucking, if you're going to lose a job, you're going to lose a job anyway, whether you quit or you get fired. So at least you'll be able to look at yourself in the fucking mirror.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it.